Welcome to the Archaeology Studio. Today's episode is concerned with significance in archaeology. By the end of this episode, you will be able to discuss what makes an archaeological discovery or interpretation potentially significant. You can clarify what makes something meaningful or important, and you can consider how to develop or enhance those qualities. This presentation about general principles can be most effective if you can link with other information about archaeological sites and investigations. In its most basic definition, significance refers to something worthy of attention. It can be viewed as a meaningful sign or signal. In statistics, significance is measured in degree of probability. This aspect sometimes could be used for arguing about whether or not a body of evidence is convincing or compelling. In archaeology, significance can be understood as the ability to learn something new that changes our way of thinking. Significance could apply to substantive data as well as to theoretical knowledge. Archaeology generates material evidence on a regular basis, and potentially any new material finding could be significant in some way. The challenge for archaeologists is to identify what makes something significant, ideally addressing a larger research theme, question, or theory. When evaluating the potential for significance, you can consider what is different about a new finding or conclusion. Does it add minimal trivia, or does it create a meaningful contribution or improvement in our way of thinking? We can recognize significance as the ability to contribute new substantive data or theoretical knowledge. Simply being new in itself is not enough to be significant in terms of creating an advancement or an improvement in our knowledge. If we can be aware of what can be improved in archaeology, then we can take advantage of new opportunities in technique, method, and theory. We always can find new artifacts and make new observations, but what makes those discoveries potentially significant? We can begin with knowing the basic material facts, and then we can clarify how our site-specific findings help toward addressing broader questions or solving larger problems. In this view, almost any discovery potentially can be significant, but we need to know how to identify and develop this significance in a meaningful way. Different definitions of significance operate in government management of archaeological sites or museum collections. One standard approach has been encoded in the regulations for evaluating sites as eligible or not eligible for listing in the U.S. Register of National Historic Places. In this system, historic or archaeological contexts generally are 50 years or older, but some cases could be younger. The evaluation process first requires that a site has retained its integrity of its information content and the ability to convey its potential significance. After demonstrating the integrity factor, next a site can be evaluated in terms of what it actually conveys about past events, people, contexts, or general knowledge in history, or possibly in archaeology. The legal language works best with physical properties that can be observed in person and associated with known historical events or periods, such as when working with historical architecture of the last few centuries. In these cases, integrity is easy to demonstrate, and often the associated historic context already has been documented. By comparison, these criteria are more difficult and vague when working with archaeological ruins and remnants, especially in cases of subsurface archaeological layers. In principle, the U.S. National Register system could accommodate a broad diversity of sites and resources. In one example, I worked on nominating the remains of the World War II Tafuna Airbase in American Samoa. No actual World War II battle engagement occurred here, but the creation of the airbase brought American Samoa more strongly into international relations and generated long-lasting effects on the history and culture of the region. Moreover, the infrastructure of the Tafuna Airbase has continued to shape daily life and contexts, now in the form of Pongo Pongo International Airport and the major road networks around the airport. Some remnants survive today as clear reminders of the World War II association, while other remnants have become less obvious among the landscape. The significance overall refers not to the information content of the surviving relics of the airbase, but rather to their ability to reflect the past historical context that has been chronicled extensively in documents, photographs, and other records. In another example, I worked on nominating the Bapot Lati site in Saipan of the Mariana Islands. The site was well known for the ruins of stone pillars and associated elements of ancient houses known as Lati in the Mariana Islands. Digging beneath the ground, I confirmed a series of older archaeological layers, by far predating the Lati ruins. While the Lati context could be dated in the range of AD 1000 through 1700, the deepest layer contained quite different artifacts and materials, dating at least as early as 1500 BC. In 2005, my official site nomination referred to the ability of the archaeological layers to reveal significant knowledge about the full chronological sequence of cultural history in the region. In 2016, with colleagues, I excavated a larger portion of the site and pursued more of the research significance. The results provided much more knowledge about each time period, ever since people first lived in the Mariana Islands, essentially allowing us to rewrite what we thought we knew about the broader region's archaeological record. Several levels of government programs worldwide have been charged with evaluating the significance of archaeological sites, or heritage sites. One such program is concerned with World Heritage, managed by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO. In the UNESCO World Heritage Program, sites are inscribed each year for showcasing the qualities of heritage that can be appreciated at a global scale of humanity. Of the 10 criteria for consideration in this listing, 6 refer to cultural history, and 4 others refer to natural history. World Heritage sites can be appreciated by all people. Part of the rationale is to encourage people to visit these sites in promotion of international exchange, tourism, and education. Each site individually may be iconic of its local area or region, yet it could be recognized as significant in the heritage of all people of the world. For practical purposes, programs of site protection or preservation always work with pre-existing knowledge, effectively preserving something that already has been demonstrated to be significant. This approach has been productive, yet it does not always accommodate continued research or new discoveries, or the possibility for enhancing or enriching the significance of a site. In a philosophical sense, research significance could change with new material knowledge or with different theory, method, or technique. Logically, the more we know about a site, the better we can clarify its significance. Meanwhile, the more we know about archaeology in general, the better we can examine the material records of a site and situate those findings in a larger perspective. At the Retidian site in Guam, research has been ongoing for several years. Continually, new findings are added into the public education and outreach programs, the guided site tours and learning activities, and the professional publications about this site and its larger significance. As you might expect, other episodes of the Archaeology Studio offer more information for understanding and developing the issues of significance in archaeology. In concluding this episode, now you should be prepared to discuss archaeological sites, discoveries, and interpretations in terms of their potential significance. Ideally, you can identify what makes something significant, and then you can develop ways of enhancing or enriching those qualities. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you will explore more with the Archaeology Studio.